Now it seems like springtime is popping up in every retail store I go into, so it only makes sense that I bring you some springtime DIYs. And for my first DIY, we're actually going to be doing a Kirkland's dupe. I'm going to take this Flowers and Gardens pail that I picked up from Dollar Tree, some floral foam, and these 3 different sized candlesticks. Now, the arrangement that I saw at Kirkland's actually had a kind of a galvanized metal bucket, and I thought that that would be really cool. These candlesticks, I think, are going to be a little bit short, but we'll see. I have that foam cutter for cutting up those foam blocks into smaller pieces. You can see here when I put the candlesticks in, they just kind of sit a little low. So I'm going to first go ahead and cut up my flowers and just kind of play around with it. I didn't want my flowers to be too short. I want it to kind of look like a pail of flowers that are kind of billowing over, if you will. And I have all of these great flower stems from Dollar Tree, and I'm using my lineman pliers here just to cut everything up. They really, really pound through those flowers, and I love how quickly they cut everything down. You can cut big, thick stalks, or you can cut smaller stalks, and it works out really, really well. And it actually doesn't take a whole lot of hand strength, at least not for the DeWalt set that I have. So after I cut up all of these flowers, I realized, one, I had way too many flowers, but also I had some beautiful assortments here. So I'm going to go ahead and place a wood disc in the bottom of my pail, just kind of like this. And then I'm going to add some hot glue onto the bottom of those candlesticks and start placing my floral foam all around the candlesticks so I can build the arrangement. As I'm kind of building the arrangement, I'm purposely kind of keeping everything low. I almost want it to look like a bucket of flowers that you might have been carrying when you're out walking around in a field and just kind of picking up wildflowers along the way. I'm purposely also keeping them somewhat lower profile because I do want them to be able to not cover up those candlesticks that we're putting in there. And don't worry, we're not going to be putting flame candlesticks or real candles in there. We're going to be using battery operated. So what's great about this is that if you had maybe more of those wood discs like I originally put in there, you could certainly make this taller. If you found a different kind of candle holder, you could also use that too. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add my battery operated candle holders candles that I picked up from Dollar Tree as well. And this is ready to go. I love the way this looks on the coffee table. It definitely is a bright punch of color for springtime. And it's also safe for the family. You don't have to worry about burning any plastic or anything like that. Now for this next DIY, I know you were hoping that I was making myself a spring Easter bonnet, but I'm really not. Well, because one, Easter is over, but I'm also making something for my front door. So what I'm going to do is take the leftover flowers that I had from the previous project, one of those straw hats. I'm going to take this scarf. It's an infinity scarf that I picked up at Dollar Tree, so I will be cutting this. And I'm also using a piece of white foam core that I'm going to cut down. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a pencil and just trace around the hat. I'm going to do this kind of loosely and just make sure that I have at least a circle to work off of. And then I'm going to literally just start cutting it out with a pair of scissors. Foam core is actually pretty easy to cut with, not a hard project at all. If you did have a straight edge or a razor blade or something like that, you could certainly use that as well. Scissors just kind of powered through this fine. And I did make this probably about 1/2 of an inch smaller than the actual circle that I cut out because I didn't want any of the white foam core to show on the outside of the hat because I am making this as a door wreath. Once that was all cut out, it was time to go ahead and just measure up, make sure that it was the right size, and I think this is going to be perfect. I am going to make one side of it kind of closer to the edge, and that's where it's going to be hanging. For this beautiful little pink ribbon, I'm actually going to take that out, and I'm going to be replacing it with that infinity scarf that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I'm also going to go ahead and first glue this foam core circle down to the bottom of that hat. That way it has a flat surface to hang up against the door. It will help with wind, and if you want to use something stronger than hot glue, by all means, go for it. My porch is covered, so this will be perfectly fine for me, and I'm using an all-purpose hot glue, and it seems to hold up really, really well from Shore Bonder. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is take this infinity scarf that I picked up at Dollar Tree. Because this is an infinity scarf, you will have to go ahead and cut this, so not a big deal. You could actually probably just wrap this around a couple times if you wanted to try it that way, and maybe do some sort of decorative knot or something in it. That way you would have this scarf to be able to wear afterwards. For me, I'm really not going to be wearing the scarf, so I'm going to go ahead and just cut this with my extremely dull scissors, once again, that I desperately need to get sharpened. I know all the tips and tricks. You guys have been great giving me them. I just need to do it now. And then I'm just going to tie a very simple knot onto the pad. That way the bow now, or the scarf, stays in place. And then I am going to go ahead and add a little bit of hot glue from Shore Bonder kind of down in between the kind of what is that, like a rattan, whatever the hat is made out of, and some hot glue and that ribbon, just to make sure that it's good and solid and will stay in place. I'm using hot glue for this for the sake of just drying time, and also for me, because my porch is covered and where this is going to be hanging on the front door, the hot glue never causes me any issues. Obviously, if you live in a hotter climate, that might be an issue, and you may want to switch it up to a different type of glue, or maybe even use pins. So now it's time to just start decorating my hat. I am literally just taking some of those leftover floral stems and just working them into the hat scarf itself, and just kind of decorating the brim of the hat, or I guess that's not the brim of the hat. I'm decorating that part there where you see me sticking that blue flower. And I'm just going to work my way around the hat until it is fully decorated, and I have a beautiful wreath like this for the front door. I absolutely love this. It is super fun and very spring festive. My next project is going to be a pretty easy one. I'm going to take one of these Dollar Tree glass vases and this package of floral stencils that I picked up in Crafter Square. I thought that these were super, super cute, and I really loved the way they looked, and I thought that they would make a very cool impact on this vase. I was going to originally do like maybe even white or a navy or something like that, but I think instead I'm going to be using a silver glass paint that I picked up. Now, as you will see, this doesn't work all the way around, but it comes pretty darn close. So go ahead and just use some masking tape, tape it into place, and then you can use, after your stencil has dried, you can go ahead and just kind of fill in the holes that you need to, or you can leave it blank. I actually left mine blank. So once you kind of wrap that around, you will notice that some of those stencils do not lay flat. Some of those florals have some kind of pointy pieces, like this one here that's sticking up. And you'll want to be really careful when you are stenciling that. And I'm using a larger stencil brush that you'll be seeing shortly here. So I've got my silver glass paint there that I'm just kind of working with. And I did pick this up at A-Maker Studio. And you can buy it online at amakerstudio.com. And I do have some links below, some affiliate links for A-Maker Studio. And all I'm doing is just kind of dabbing on this glass paint directly onto that stencil. I'm going very light with it and kind of working my way around. When my hand gets out of the way, you'll kind of see how beautiful this really does look, and it starts to almost look like the glass is etched. So in those areas where those floral pieces were kind of sticking up, kind of like this guy here at the top, that one I'm just being very direct with the stain. I'm kind of going at the top, and then I'm going to work my way just up and down, versus that larger one that you see me working on right now. I'm kind of being a little more liberal with the back and forth. The masking tape definitely helps. It helps keep everything nice and solid. And then once I've kind of filled in all the blanks and all the kind of parts of the stencil, I will go ahead and take my heat gun and just kind of help speed up that drying process. I didn't let it get all the way dry, and then I did go ahead and remove the stencil, and this is what it looked like. I loved the way this looked. I thought it was super cute. I thought it kind of looked like etched glass, and really you are done. Again, if you wanted to fill in that one piece, you could, but simple, add some florals to it, and you've got a gorgeous vase that looks like it is etched glass. And for my last project, we're going to take 3 of these arched windows that you can pick up at Dollar Tree. It's funny, when I grabbed these, I actually thought that they were wood, but they're not. They're plastic. And I also grabbed some hinges, by the way. I almost forgot about those. So these are plastic, and the kind of thing on the front there, the sign on the front, are actually cardboard. So they do pop off really easily. They do leave a good amount of glue residue behind though. So I simply just took my heat gun, I kind of warmed up the glue, and then I was able to just kind of scrape it off with my screwdriver. It worked out really, really well. Obviously go very slow with this, that way you don't stab yourself in the hand or in the fingers. We don't want anything like that. Then after everything had been deglued, I did take some sandpaper and just kind of rough everything up a little bit. And then I took it outside and I spray painted it with a dark silvery gray color. And so through the magic of YouTube, now you see that they are sprayed gray. And then I also did take a little tiny bit of antique gold and just kind of sprayed loosely over the top of it, just to give it kind of a different kind of a silhouette. And then for the actual hardware themselves, those hinges, because this is plastic, you can screw those hinges into the plastic and they will hold perfectly fine. I did go ahead and get a really small drill bit that kept slipping in my drill, and I drilled some pilot holes. I just kind of lined up the hinges where I wanted to do that and then just added those holes. You could certainly even just hot glue those hinges if you wanted to, but I think for mine, I'm going to be moving it around quite a bit. So I wanted something a little more sturdy. And now I'm just literally putting them side by side, adding or aligning the hinges, using my Sharpie that I also grabbed at Dollar Tree to kind of make where I need to make more holes, and then I'm going to drill more holes. You want to make sure that you're putting your hinges the right way. And, because this is kind of going to be an accordion door kind of a style, you'll want to zigzag your hinges or make sure that when you do put them together, you've got this option. Now I'm going to take a little bit of white paint, white chalk paint, and I'm just going to kind of dry brush a little bit. I wanted a little bit more texture on this, and I wanted to kind of tone down maybe a little bit of that gold that was in there, and then kind of soften some of that dark gray. I used like a steel gray color from Rust-Oleum, and I love that color. It's actually my favorite, but I thought that it was maybe a little aggressive for this one. I think that these would be beautiful if they were all spray painted black or even spray painted white. I could think that they would be gorgeous either way. I almost actually spray painted my navy because you guys know I love navy, but I decided to give you a little bit of a navy break this time. So now they're all done. They are gorgeous. I love the way this looks. You could certainly add those signs back to the front. I even thought about for a minute there of adding some of those Dollar Tree wood cutouts like the flowers and kind of keeping with the flower theme, but I just wanted something a little more simple. Again, I think this is super fun. You could definitely put some family photos behind this. You could even take some of the Dollar Tree clear cutting mats and create a screen with them. I think there's so much possibilities, or you could keep them really simple like this. We're going to take this oversized burlap bow. I've also got these eucalyptus stems that I picked up from Dollar Tree, and I am going to incorporate this into some items that I grabbed at Hobby Lobby. Now, I've had this M for quite some time. I've used this actually on a couple different DIYs, so we're going to repurpose this again. This is probably the best, like $3 or $4 I spent. I've also got this adorable bunny wood beaded wreath. You could easily make these with 3 of those beaded wreath forms that you can get at Dollar Tree in the craft or square section. So definitely don't be afraid to be creative. Now I'm wanting to make something for my front door, and my thought on this is that I would kind of apply some of these eucalyptus stems and just kind of make something that's really fun and festive and customizable and, very, very personal for my front door. Now, I did see something like this that was at Kirkland's, and it was so expensive. I was shocked at how expensive it was. And even though I bought a couple of these things at Hobby Lobby, I used the discount and Dollar Tree and everything in between. So I'm still saving money with this, which I definitely love. Now, these stems, I was thinking that I would kind of do something like this, but I do need to trim these down a little bit. These are wrapped kind of in that kind of floral wire there. So I don't want to cut them down too much because I don't want them to fall apart. If they did fall apart, though, not a big deal. Of course, you can wire those together. I'm just going to take my lineman pliers here and I'm going to clip these out. I'm going to clip these down about halfway. That way, again, that kind of floral wire or that floral wrap that's wrapped around there will kind of stay intact. And the idea here is that I will kind of overlap them I'm going to add a little bit of glue from my Shore Bonder glue gun here, and we are just going to kind of glue these on top. Now, you could totally just wire these on, and then you could change this out as much as you wanted to. The great thing about hot glue, of course, is that it does come off, and you could always pick this off of the beads very easily if you wanted to. I kind of did a combo here, I guess you can say. I wrapped it, or I added the hot glue, and then when I do end up adding my bow to it, I'm going to kind of flip this upside down, and I'm going to take that wiring that's on the bow, and we're just going to kind of wrap it or pull it around kind of to each side here, and then we're just going to do the twisty tie method, and we are going to just kind of tighten this bow on the center there and make sure that this is all ready to go. This is actually super, super cute. And again, you can use this so many different ways. I am going to kind of fluff the bow out a little bit here because I was kind of playing with it. And at first I was thinking that maybe this would be too big for the actual M and everything else that I was going to have on there. But you will see that I figured it out. Now, I spent some time kind of fluffing this out and playing with it, and you'll see that I end up doing this several times throughout the video because I want to, I guess it's just the OCD in me or something. I want to make sure that it's nice and pretty and just kind of have a visual look for it. Not a bad thing at all. I'm curious, what are your kind of quirks when you're working on your DIYs? Do you kind of step back? Do you kind of look at it from a distance? Like, what do you guys do? Now, I am going to go ahead and kind of trim up these tails a little bit. I'm going to make these shorter because I do not want these to hang in front of my M and block my lettering. So I'm just going to kind of dovetail them or ducktail them. I'm not sure exactly what this method is called, but I'm going to try and mimic it. And we're going to chop these up so they will be shorter. And you will see that I end up making them actually really, really shorter. And part of that is because I cut one of them the wrong way. And then I had to keep trimming it until I kind of got it the right way. But totally fine. It kind of worked out really good. I really like the way it looks. And then again, just kind of fluffing it out, just to kind of get an idea, visually of how everything is going to lay out. And now we're going to take that M, and I'm going to take that M eventually after I kind of finish fluffing here. And I'm going to take the M, and we're going to adhere it to the back of this. Now, what I did was I basically took the M and then took some twine and just kind of twisted it around the backside here. And then we're going to take the M and we are going to glue down that twine. That way the M kind of hangs from the beads, but it's still kind of adhered to the beads, if that makes sense. And this is going to be really, really cute. Now I'm going to use my little method here that I do with hot glue and my green tape. It works for me. It's solid. It hangs out. I love it. And by the way, how cute is this? I am so happy with this. It's going to look absolutely fantastic on my front door for Easter. So cute. I love this so much. And I saved a ton of money doing it myself. Now, this next DIY is also an easy one. You're going to take one of these beaded trays that you can pick up from Dollar Tree now. I really, really like these, and I'm just not in love with the color. I'll tell you that right now. So I am going to take mine outside and I'm going to spray paint it. It's very cold, so I'm not filming outside as much, but I kind of want it to have a little bit of a weathered look. And I just did one kind of quick coat. Now, you've got these Dollar Tree mirrors, and if you pop this mirror out of the frame, the mirror usually comes out of there pretty easily. You're going to take this frame and or this mirror rather, and you're going to add some hot glue onto the back of you could either do it on the back of the mirror, or you could do it exactly kind of like I'm doing in the video here, but just make sure that you're getting it kind of more on the center versus on the edges there, because this is the kind of the smaller size mirror, the original mirror. And look at that. You get to see behind the camera. This is super simple and easy. This is the way I film all my DIY videos. That's my cell phone. I'm literally using my iPhone for this kind of stuff. You can do that too. So we're going to go ahead and take some beads because I want to be able to hang this. And at first I was thinking that these beads would be really cute. I don't know really what I was thinking. I think I had the original color kind of in my mind. And I started kind of picking through my beads here, and I had my twine. And then I was like, no, that's not going to be cute. We got to change that up. So I did remember I had these beads, and I love these white beads that are already painted. These came from Christmas Garland. I'm telling you, if you can find Christmas Garland that is on clearance and you can buy every single color under the rainbow, you will never have to paint beads again. So I am going to add some white beads in here, and then I am going to mix it up, and I'm going to add in some gray beads as well because I really like that color combination. I thought about maybe even adding some natural beads, but I ended up just kind of sticking with the gray and white kind of version here. I'm curious, what color beads would you use on this? Would you have just used all white, or do you like the gray? The only thing I haven't found in the beads yet are navy blue beads, or at least a large amount of them, because you know me, I love my navy blue. I feel like I need some navy blue in my life. Now, for this next thing, I am going to use that twine and that tape method again. We're going to add this to the back of our mirror, and look at this. You've got the cutest mirror. So easy. It's definitely got that really cool look to it. I feel like this would be something you'd see at Kirkland's. And again, I love this so, so much. Now for this next DIY, I'm going to take this autumn sign that I have left over. I love these wood signs that they're coming out with. The Dollar Tree that had this beaded garland attached to it. I also love these that have this backing on them that's very similar to a picture frame. Now I have these bunnies that I've already painted up. I just painted the one side of them because we're gluing the unfinished side to the project that we're going to be doing. And then I have this great piece of plaid wallpaper, or not wallpaper, I'm sorry. This is the scrapbook paper. And I really like the way the white popped against the blue. Of course, you know me, and blue is going to be my favorite color. So if I'm going to be putting it in my home, I'm going to be doing it with a color scheme that I really like. Now, I just took the backing out of this. I could easily just cover this with a piece of paper that is cut out, and then I have the autumn sign to repurpose again. But we know that I do a lot of DIYs, and there's a highly big, long, solid chance, I can't talk, that I'm going to be buying another kind of autumn sign or making another kind of autumn sign. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue this. Now, you could certainly use Mod Podge if you like, but I like using a glue stick. A glue stick for me is always solid. I've never had any issues with it peeling or coming up. If it's Mod Podge, I usually make a mess, and I think that's just because I'm probably not doing the Mod Podge correctly. So go ahead and just add a ton of hot glue, or not hot glue, but the glue stick onto the back of this. And you're going to take your scrapbook paper. You could do this with fabric. You could do this with burlap. You could do this with cork. You could do this with a lot of different things. And we are going to just cover that backing up. Now, I guess I'm doing this kind of unconventionally, but I just didn't want to trace and then cut it out. So I figured I would just glue it. I am going to take this little roller that I've got here, and we're just going to roll that. That came from Deco Art, I believe, and I got that on the website. So you could certainly grab one of those if you wanted to look for one of those. A rolling pin would also work really good. Now that it's just kind of set up and I've rolled it around a little bit, I'm just going to take a nice long pair of scissors, and I'm just going to cut around it. I'm going to shift it just a little bit before that glue dries because I've got a little bit of extra space on that one side. And literally we're going to try and pick it up here. And then I'm just going to cut this away. And then the great thing is that I've got that leftover scrapbook paper that I can add into my pile. For the bunnies, they're a little big for this, so I'm going to take my bunnies, and I'm just going to use my frame. I'm going to use my frame as the kind of ruler there to kind of make a line on the bunnies where I need to trim the bunnies up just a little bit. I want to make sure, obviously, that these fit within the actual the actual frame. So I'm going to take this blue Sharpie marker that I have here, and we're just going to do a quick line across the bottom of the bunny, and then I'm going to repeat this with the other bunny. Now, I realized when I grabbed my painted bunny stash, I have a whole stash of painted bunnies, that I had two bunnies that were the same, and we can't have that. I wanted to have some different bunnies with this. So I did take this guy and kind of put him aside, and then I grabbed another painted bunny and we used that one. Then I just took my miter shears out and I just chopped away at the bunnies and trim those up. And we're going to now add them to our frame. Now, to do this, I'm going to go ahead and just glue one down. As you can see, it works perfectly. Then I'm going to take a piece of the bunny that I trimmed away because I want these to kind of overlap with each other and I want them to kind of be solid and stand. So I'm going to use that piece that I chopped away there to kind of add some more glue to this and kind of raise it up a little bit. And when it's all done, this is how cute it is. How adorable is this sign? You could certainly personalize this. You could emphasize it with a little bit of shadowing if you wanted to, or you could keep it contemporary like I've got here. You could add names to it. So many cute options. Now for this next DIY, I'm going to take this burlap flag that you can get from Crafter Square. And these are kind of like pennant flags or garland, and they're super cute. And then I'm going to spell out the word bunny, and we are going to get these painted up. Now I took those outside and I spray painted them white, and we've got the word bunny here, and this is going to be so cute. Now we're going to take our garland, our kind of burlap flags here, and we're going to take them out of the packaging. And I did want to kind of spice these up a little bit, or at least give them a little bit of variety. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually take these off of the twine that they come with, because I want to be able to add some beads and different things to the center of my burlap squares, but you can't really do that when they're on the string. Now, the only disadvantage to this, unless you have like a long needle or something like that, or maybe even a skewer, it's not going to be really easy to put the twine back through those holes. But no worries, it's not a done deal by any means. And you're gonna see what we do here in just a second. So after I've got everything done, now we're going to take some beads and we're going to string those beads all along the garland. That way I have some beads that I can put between each one of those pennant flags. Now that I've gone ahead and done that, and I have a nice string of colorful beads here, I am going to take my twine. We're going to lay that down. We're going to take a couple of beads. We're going to push those forward. And then I'm going to take one of my garland pennant flags here. And we're going to just take it and we're going to add a little bit of hot glue. And then we're going to fold this over. And it actually makes it a little smaller, which is kind of perfect because it's the perfect size for my letters to spell out the word bunny. Now, I've taken each one of my letters here and I've glued them down. Now, you really didn't think I misspelled bunny, did you? So I've got this little burlap bunny, and this is like a little treat bag. And I thought, how cute would it be to replace one of the letters with the bunny head instead? Now, I've got this little chamois cloth, or this little I think it's a chamois cloth. And I thought it would be perfect because it's kind of, fluffy, and I can stuff it inside the bunny bag there pretty easily. And we're going to do that to kind of give our bunny a little bit of dimension. Now, the cool thing about this, is that it does stay kind of fluffy, but the not so cool thing about it is the bag is kind of square. So we're going to take our bunny and we're going to kind of end up folding over those corners and kind of gluing everything together. We're going to give them a little bunny facelift, and we're going to round out that face as much as possible. When we've got it all stuffed and everything, then we're going to go ahead and seal the top of the bag, and then I am going to cut away these little strings because we're going to add a little bit of a bow at the top of that. And then also I am going to want to go ahead and glue down the ears. That way they just kind of stay down a little bit. And then I will add the bow in place there. I love the way that this bow looks, especially with the pops of the blue and the white and the yellow beads. Everything goes together really good. And how beautiful is this on my mantle? I love this so much. I think it's so adorable. And I know you guys thought I was spelling bunny wrong. Right, so for this next DIY, we are going to take this mess. This is leftover from Easter a couple years ago. I had this kind of carrot garland that I created, and then I had some other garland carrots from Dollar Tree. They all got twisted and twined together, so I'm like, all right, let me see how I can repurpose this. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut away some of this twine. We're going to pull it off of all of these carrots, and we are going to end up using that twine, and we are going to use some of the carrots. But first we got to kind of untangle this mess and separate all of this. Now the great thing about those beads is that I can cut this string off on the end here. I can get out my little bead container that's got my kind of gray and neutral colors in here, and I can snip off the end there, and then we can just start feeding all of those beads right into my little pencil box here. This is a fantastic way of storing, and then I can just kind of pull these carrots off, and I can use these carrots and kind of gather all of that twine off of there. So after this is all said and done, I'm going to have a nice little pile of orange thread that I can use, and I've got these shower curtain rings from Dollar Tree. By the way, if you saw Whitney's video from Whiskey and Wit, how cute and how crazy and how fun is it that she also created something very, very similar on her channel. If you haven't checked it out yet, please check it out. The moment I saw her thumbnail with her carrot napkin rings on it, I was like, what? And I sent her a text and was just like laughing. It's so funny how we just come up with the same ideas sometimes. I feel like personally I am in very good company if I'm coming up with very similar DIYs to what Whitney is doing. So cheers to creativity and cheers to everything Dollar Tree. So go ahead and take your napkin rings, and then you're just going to start wrapping your twine around those napkin rings. And you can do this in a couple different ways. You could just glue it down kind of like I did, and then just kind of add hot glue every, couple of inches, I guess, or half inches, or you could tie it on there and then start wrapping it around. It's totally up to you. I do think gluing it down is a little easier because with the twine being on the plastic and everything, it kind of like rolls a little bit or moves around a little bit if you don't have something to kind of anchor it down. I did end up using kind of 2 pieces of twine per napkin ring. Now, this is kind of one of those busy project things, right? You just kind of sit down, you watch a movie, you listen to some music, and you just kind of wrap each one of those. God forbid if you have a seating for 12 and you want to add 12 of these to your table, but if you've got the time and you've got the creativity, I say go for it and just enjoy the process. Now, I did completely wrap 2 of these napkin rings, and when it was all said and done, the open space kind of at the top there, that is where I glued one of the carrots down. So when you glue the carrot down, it's super, super cute. Now you can certainly burn away any kind of the fuzzies or anything like that on the twine to kind of get it, just how twine is. Sometimes it's got those little furries on them. But how cute is this? I love these against my blue and cream colored napkins. That's going to really pop on my table for Easter. I love these so much, and definitely, again, go and check out Whitney's video as well. How cool. Great minds think alike, right? This next DIY is so easy. These beaded trays are amazing. They come in the circular shape. They also have this kind of rounded oval shape. You can take these and spray paint these and use these for all different kinds of things. I took mine and spray painted it a couple coats of white just to get it nice and clean. I never paint the bottoms, just be okay with it. I'm okay with it. And I took my Dollar Tree bunnies here. I updated their necks with this ribbon and bows. And how cute is this? Such a cute setup for Easter. Now I've got a ton of bunnies here, and I did take these all outside and I did spray paint them all white. So I've got a bunch of these that I can use for projects in the future. And this was kind of perfect because I found these clips, these little rainbow clips that you can get at Dollar Tree. And I thought, how cute are these? Because they're kind of spring and they're kind of festive, and you can use these for a lot of different things. Now, the little clothespin clips that are on here, they also come with the little rubber like window kind of stickum things that you can put, like suction cups. That's what they're called, not stickums. But take your twine, take your clothespins, you can kind of separate them and move them around, and you can kind of do whatever you want with them. Now, I think this could be cute, just kind of with what I did and just kind of create a bunny garland or an alternative bunny garland. Now, you could also take these and you could alternate your bunnies. You could put one bunny and then a photo and then a family photo and a bunny and beads, and you can really have a lot of different fun with them. Now, you can also find these smaller clothespins in the Crafter Square section at Dollar Tree. So if you even wanted to make this a lot longer, and there's only 8 in this package, but you could certainly add more, or you could have 8 bunnies and then have more clips for family photos. This is totally up to you. And right now this is just kind of hanging on my wall because I've got the really cute big bunny on the garland on the mantle right now. But how cute is this? So much fun, so much creativity. Take these wooden flower pots that I picked up from Hobby Lobby, and we are going to make some really cute magnets with these. Now, I'm also using my magnets that you see there from Dollar Tree, and also some boxwood pieces. You can get the boxwood pieces at Dollar Tree, and ironically enough, I have seen these wooden flower pots now at Dollar Tree as well in some of the springtime. Now, they're a little hard to hold on to, but you're going to grab your little pots and you're going to start painting them. Now, I painted mine with a cream base originally, and then I kind of wanted to make them look more like terracotta. So I took some of my antiquing wax from Waverly and started to kind of dab this on. And then I just kind of kept doing it, honestly, until I liked the way it looked. And then I went and added in some orange because I wanted to get that kind of terracotta look. They're a little hard to hold on to, I swear. And I keep dropping them, as you can see. But I am kind of painting them and kind of moving forward. And then when it finally got to a terracotta-esque color, I was happy. Then I took my boxwood pieces and literally just kind of cut off some of the tips, glued them down inside my little pots, and created 2 little cute, adorable pots here. And then I wanted to add some magnets onto the back of them. These are literally going to just kind of dress up my pegboard. How cute would these be for your refrigerator or your kitchen? I love them so, so much. Now, this next DIY is going to involve some wax. Now, you can either use wax chips like this, or you can use these Dollar Tree candles. I love working with these. Now, I've also got some glue dots and some wicks. These are totally optional. You could use wicks from really anywhere, and then some essential oils. I did grab this essential oil from Dollar Tree. This pie pan I picked up during my Walmart haul. If you missed that video, definitely check it out. It's here on YouTube. We're going to remove that sticker, and then we're going to add some other stickers down in the bottom of it, because these are the glue dots that we're going to be using for our wicks. Now, this again is totally optional. They worked out okay. I wouldn't say that they were great. I probably should have added a little bit of super glue or something to them. The wicks, again, if you have wicks from Dollar Tree or somewhere else, go for it. Boil your candles until you get until your wax is melted. You're going to definitely add some of those essential oils and get those cooking as well. When everything is melted, you are going to very carefully pour this into your pie pan. And when it's all done, you've got the cutest candle. How adorable is this? I'm probably going to put this on my front porch. Now, I'm going to be taking some of these crystal knobs, or these plastic crystal knobs from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be creating a really cute coat rack, or a kind of a coat rack. We'll call it a coat rack. I have this piece of wood that I grabbed from Goodwill the last time I went there. It was just a couple dollars, and it was kind of perfect. It was already painted. Everything was great. Now, I did go ahead and just kind of pre-measure this. I just kind of took the spacing and then just kind of evenly spaced out these 3 marks that you see here. Now, I am going to drill holes into my piece of wood. I'm going to do that with my drill that you see right here, but I'm doing that off camera because I'm trying to be careful. And I wanted to just go ahead and make sure those 3 holes were as even as possible, which is why I did use my ruler. Not my norm. Usually I just eyeball things. Now, these knobs are definitely a little long. You can cut them off either with a pair of lineman pliers and a lot of strength, or a Dremel tool, anything like that. Even a metal saw would work perfectly fine, some kind of a hacksaw or something. I went ahead and just kind of added mine, and then I just used my lineman pliers. It was very difficult, but it did eventually come off. And then I just added my knobs like you see here. Once I had all three knobs, I wasn't too concerned about the kind of nuts or the bolts that are kind of on the other side there, because you can add some tape or something to them. Also, these hanging picture hooks that I'm using will stick out just a little bit, so they're not going to affect the wall. I love the way this looks. I think that this is super, super cute and the perfect addition to your kind of farmhouse decor. Now for this next DIY, any of these kind of rag rugs that you can find at Dollar Tree will work. Also, fabric works really, really great. For this particular one, I am going to take or at least one side of this, and we are going to remove the fringe. You can save that. You can use that for another project. Totally up to you. Then you're going to take the unfringed side, and you're going to fold that over about a quarter of the way. Once you've got that one side glued down, then you're going to take your fringe and flip it over and overlap it, gluing the ends together. Go ahead and stuff your now pillow with your kind of polyfill or whatever you have on hand, and you've got a cute pillow for your couch. Now this next DIY kind of involves a little bit of everything. I've got this scarf from Dollar Tree that I thought was so, so sweet. I've been hanging on to this for a while. This bike actually came from Deco Art, and I've had this for a while as well. These roses are kind of like paper roses, and I ordered these on Amazon last year for a Valentine's Day project, and then these were just kind of the leftovers. And then this wreath form I've had. Now my bicycle, I originally took this and was using my Arteza paint markers, and I was going to town. I was kind of liking it at first, and I don't know, there was just something about it once I got it done that I wasn't as happy with. Even though I think it's pretty cute, I decided to go in a totally different direction. So we'll do that. We'll show you more of that soon. Now, for that scarf, I am making little bundles. I'm taking my floral wire and just kind of bundling them up, and then I'm cutting them. I'm cutting them away from the wreath form, because I am going to be stuffing these little kind of poofs into the wreath, because I wanted to give the illusion like the scarf was kind of wrapping around the wreath without it actually wrapping around the wreath, because I wouldn't have had enough to go all the way around. Now I'm going to take my little roses, and we are just going to be gluing them down kind of sporadically throughout the wreath form. Shout out to my friend Sarah Jane over at Chic on the Cheap. She actually suggested that I use like a lamb's ear kind of base for this, and I think that this is really, really gorgeous. Now I added my bicycle. I took it outside. I spray painted it white. I love the way that this looks so, so much. To me, this is just quintessential springtime. It is gorgeous. I love the colors, and I really, really love the way it looks on my bright yellow door. I am ready for springtime. I am tired of freezing my booty off. Now, sometimes a DIY can be very, very simple. Literally, take 3 pots. These came from Dollar Tree. You can get them from Home Depot, Walmart. Plant some beautiful flowers for yourself. First of all, you deserve it. Second of all, I love the pop of color. I love how when you go onto my front porch, right by my front door, you see these gorgeous flowers. These are fall friendly, by the way, and I love the way these turned out. Going to create a very, very cute tag. Now we're going to grab some beads from Crafter's Square. I've got this great twine that I really love, and it's got this natural kind of look to it, and that's kind of the vibe that I'm going for. I've got this kind of ceramic or porcelain. It's not porcelain, but I guess it's ceramic tag that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I really, really like these a lot. And then I've got these rub-on transfers, and I thought they could be fun to kind of collaborate together and create a really cool tag. So to do this, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this twine that's on here, because I want to use that kind of natural color twine with the white striping in it. Now, I am going to take this twine and I'm going to double it. I was going to triple it at first, but then I thought, now we'll just double it. So Go ahead, cut off a piece of your desired length. I ended up cutting off a little bit too much, but that's okay. I've got a lot of twine. And I'm going to double this over, and then I'm going to feed it through the hole here at the top of my tag and just kind of squish it through until it starts to go through. And then you're just going to loop this through. That way you've got a tag that will actually hang on something, and you could keep this as long as you want to. It's really totally up to you. Now go ahead and untie that knot that you did at first. That was just kind of a starter knot. And we're going to go ahead and open up our beads here. Now, I've got my pencil holder here that I keep all my beads in, so I just opened that package and just poured it in here. I grabbed these pencil holders, or these pencil case holders, from Dollar Tree, and I think I have probably like 10 of these now, and I have different colored beads in each one of them. So if you get a chance to grab these, they're so good to use in your craft room. This footage, I don't know what happened to it, but I ended up tying that little cross onto there, and then you can kind of see how my beaded tassel ended up looking. It was super cute, but this twine is really like hairy, and it was just kind of getting on my nerves because it was putting little fibers or little hairs all over my tag, and I didn't want to do my rub-on transfer and have that be in the way. So I decided to go ahead and just kind of burn off some of those little frays. That's a good little tip. Now, this is another tip that I use. Anytime I'm using rub-on transfers, I cut from the package. That way the package will hold any of the rub-on transfers that I'm not using right now. And this specific kind of grouping here with these two was going to be kind of perfect for this. And I thought that this would be a really cute tag to have, especially with like the Easter season coming up and just springtime in general, and honestly just feeling very blessed about a lot of things that are happening right now in my life. The great thing about this too is that you can use this kind of cardboard piece or this backing to use it as your kind of template, so you can kind of figure out exactly where you want to lay everything out. This is a great tip, and something that I used a little while ago. And then when you kind of figure out, okay, my placement's going to be good, then you can kind of put this down and just kind of smooth it out. Now, a lot of these rub-on transfers will start to grab on immediately, and it's not very forgiving. It's kind of a one-time shot here, but put it down, just kind of smooth it out with your finger and just kind of lay it out there. Trim it down as small as you can. That kind of helps, but you do want to leave a little bit of extra. That way you have something to kind of hang on to. And then you're going to grab something. I'm just using the end of my scissors here, and you're just going to go over your rub-on transfer, and you're just going to kind of smooth everything out and just make sure that everything is adhering. And if you do this and you're kind of watching it very closely, you can start to see it kind of separate from the plastic, and then you're just going to start to peel away very slowly. That way, if you do see a section that really needs to be adhered to again or rubbed on again, then you can certainly do that. And again, you could use a credit card, you could use a spatula tool, you could use the Dollar Tree tool, you could use a pen. You could probably use an eraser, honestly. But look how cute this is. I love this, and I think it's so simple and perfect for Easter decor and DIYs. Now for this next DIY, I freaked out when I saw these frames at Dollar Tree. These frames are so good. I am hoping that when I go back, I can find more. And the reason why I love them so much is because they are a Kirkland's dupe. This was originally $19. It's on sale now for $7, but $1.25 is much better. Now I'm going to take my Waverly ink chalk paint here, and I am just going to go for it. And I'm going to use a sponge brush applicator for the first part of this. Now, the sponge brush is great. I love working with the sponge brush whenever I am doing chalk paint. These beads, though, they are, as you can see, they are raised. And so there's going to be some areas that you're not going to be able to get into with your sponge brush. Now, you could obviously spray paint this if you wanted to. The day that I was doing this project, believe me, I wanted to spray paint. You guys know how much I love my spray paint. But I didn't do that. I used a sponge brush. But after I did end up kind of painting the sides and the insides and trying to get as much of that paint spread around as I could, I did end up grabbing a stiffer brush and just kind of beating the paint into the, into the little cracks and crevices there, just to really give me lots and lots of coverage. When this dried, I had a Kirkland's dupe. I actually used this for my welcome, for my open house. This was how people could register to win or register to kind of come into the open house. It was really, really cool, very, very classic, and I loved the way this looked. And I saved a ton of money. Now for this next DIY, I'm going to take one of these garden bowls. I love the garden bowls that they have at Dollar Tree. The only problem is they don't have one tag or one sticker. They actually have two. So go ahead and take your heat gun, just put it on low and just kind of, little kind of squirts of hot air, if that's a thing, back and forth until those tags come off. You want to do that kind of softly. That way it doesn't melt your bowl. Now I have this random stand. There was a dome that went with it, but it had broke, and I kept the stand because I knew I'd end up using it for something. I was going to originally put this bowl on the stand, and then I was going to paint it and, make a whole thing with it. And then I decided that I kind of liked the way the clear looked, because think about the possibilities you could do, especially with some of your different summer like succulents and different things. You could put rocks, you could put moss, you could put a lot of different things in here. So I did go ahead and just add some hot glue. Now the hot glue I kind of put on that lip that you see, because remember there was a dome that kind of went inside there. And if I would have put hot glue in the center of this, it wouldn't have stuck, because there's a little bit of a depthness, if that's a word, there. And we're just going to go ahead and just kind of center this before it starts to harden. And then pretty simple. I didn't even paint this because I love the way you can see the greenery from the outside. I just put a candle in it right now. I'm going to put some Dollar Tree rocks and some succulents and different things and really create almost kind of like a terrarium effect. I love this. So easy also. This is another DIY that's also really, really easy. You're going to take some moss. You're going to take this kind of rope nautical ball that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I have this little ceramic or this little terracotta pot. I also have some rocks, and I have this great twine that's got these kind of leaves all twined up in it. And we're going to take the rocks and just kind of put them in our little pot. And that's just to kind of give it some weight. Then I'm going to take this reindeer moss and I am going to fill this up a little bit. Now this reindeer moss is also going to come in handy for that other project that we just looked at. So after I've cleared up my space, because the reindeer moss goes everywhere, I'm going to put that little pot aside, and now I'm going to take my twine and we're just going to cut some of it off of the roll here. This actually fed through here a lot easier than I thought it was going to. I ended up cutting 2 pieces, but it's really, really cute. Now just take this twine and you're going to add a little bit of hot glue just to kind of get it started, and then you're just going to start to wrap your sphere. Now you can take all kinds of things from Dollar Tree and kind of recreate this if you can't find these little rope nautical balls that you could get. I know they had them in the summertime. My store still has a bunch of these too, so good luck. Hopefully you'll find them. But you could also take the embroidery rings, you could take the metal rings, you could take a ball, you could kind of recreate this pretty easily, and just adjust the size of your terracotta pot. You could make several of these if you wanted to. So I'm literally just taking this twine and just kind of wrapping this up and covering each one of those sections, because I want this to kind of look like these vines are just kind of crawling all over this ball. And again, you can make this as thick or as viney as you want, or you can actually keep it really, really simple and just maybe put it all towards the middle and one side of the twine ball, and then it would kind of give that look, like the vines are starting to grow. I wanted to have something a little more aged looking, I guess. And but the great thing about this little terracotta pot too is that it's going to fit perfectly on my tiered tray that I picked up. If you remember the tiered tray that I picked up for Easter, it's got some really, it's like a metal Easter bunny essentially. And this is the perfect size, the perfect little accent to have on that tray. Now I did want to add a little bit of greenery or something. I did go ahead and rest my twine ball kind of on top of the pot there. And then I did add a little bit of hot glue too, just to make sure that that was there. Now, on this bundle of florals that I picked up from Dollar Tree, it's got some of these like eucalyptus pieces, but it's also got these little tiny sweet flowers. And I thought that that could be perfect for this, especially given the size of this. I'm actually very happy that I had this on hand because all of the other florals I had on hand were actually really kind of large. I was able to just snip all these with scissors, so that was also great. And then I just started kind of feeding them in there and kind of figuring out where I wanted them to be and like how far I wanted them to stick out. For the green pieces there, the eucalyptus pieces, I did not glue those down. That way I could kind of adjust them as we go and, kind of figure out whether I wanted them to be kind of long and sprawling or if I wanted to wrap some around. And then with the flowers, I just kind of started playing with them. And then when I figured out, yeah, I think I like that there. Then I went ahead and glued it, and then, I adjusted the stem if I needed to trim it down a little bit or whatever. Adding some hot glue, this helped to kind of stick it in place and keep it solid. And this is so much fun because you can literally just kind of play around with this and you can just kind of create your own, almost like your own little secret garden or your own little wonder garden out of all of these pieces. And this is just so much fun and super easy. And this is just kind of one of those fun little accent pieces. You could put it on a tiered tray again. You could put it on a little shadow box display. It would look really good on a side table or on your coffee table. Look how adorable and vibrant and just springy and fun and warm this is. I really love the way that this turned out, and it's going to be the perfect accent on my tray. Now, this next DIY is super, super fun, and I'm using something that I've had in my stash. I've got this grateful sign from the fall. I've also got these burlap flowers that I found in Crafty Square. And then I've got this corkboard sheet. So we are going to make a very farmhouse friendly kind of corkboard, but it's got a spring twist to it because it's going to add those burlap flowers to this. Now, these signs that they're making at Dollar Tree right now, I'm kind of loving these because they're like a picture frame. If you find a sign that you really, really like at Dollar Tree and it's got this backing on it, just remember you can repurpose that sign a lot of different ways because this is going to come out. And that kind of gray whitewash on that one side is perfection for what I'm wanting to do here. Now, this has got this grateful kind of 3D MDF kind of press thing on the front here, and I am just going to take that off. We'll get rid of that. We can put it in the stash, and then we can use it for other things in the junk pile that I have, or the junk bags. And we're just going to pick off some of these glue globs on here just to make sure that this is nice and smooth. Look at that. How cute is that? Now, I did peel off the backing of the cork, and then I'm just going to lay this down on the corner here and then just trim around it. Now, this isn't really enough cork for me to repurpose into another DIY, so I'm sacrificing some cork here. Don't hate me for that. But I am just going to grab a nice big long pair of scissors, and we're just going to kind of cut right along here. And it's so funny because this cork is so sticky. And my scissors were actually sticking to the cork here, which I think is kind of amazing. And it kind of gives you an idea of how solid this cork really, really is. Now, the cork is a little thin. So if you do want something that, you're not going to maybe damage the backing of your project, then you may want to double up this or put a piece of foam board or something behind it. I knew that the backing of this sign would also kind of help serve as a kind of a pin cushion and help kind of reinforce those pins. So I was good with it. This is actually going to be a housewarming gift for a client that I've got coming up that's going to be closing on a house. She loves a farmhouse kind of modern setup in her home. So I think she'll really, really like this. And this is something that I can put in her closing gift. This is kind of a welcome basket that I do, and it's got usually at least one or two little things that I've made and then some store-bought things. So the hanger here, I wanted this to be vertical because the place that I'm thinking that she could hang it in the house really needs a vertical instead of horizontal. But that's the great thing about this, is that you can kind of pluck off that little hanger and then just kind of put it where you want it to on the back there. It's got some little teeth on it, and I just kind of banged it back in there. And then again, you could do it either way that you wanted to. Super, super cute. Now, these little burlap flowers are also very, very cute, and they are kind of the perfect aesthetic for that kind of modern-y, farmhousey vibe, especially with that gray kind of whitewashed effect that this already has. I didn't even have to paint it, and that was really, really cool. And then for these flowers, just kind of play around with them and figure out kind of where you want the placement of them. Now, I liked that kind of, heavy corner with the idea of the flowers kind of going up or down one side. And at first I was going to do that where kind of everything in the left-hand corner was going to be a little heavier. But then I started playing around with it, and I really liked the idea of just kind of each corner having a little splash, or the two opposing corners, I should say. And then I just kind of started filling in some little pieces here and there around it. And when it was all done, I've got the cutest corkboard. I absolutely love the way this turned out. I think this is so, so cute, and I know that my client is going to absolutely love this. This last DIY is fun. It's also very spring, and it's got these great little coasters that I picked up last year. I also have this little porcelain kind of frame stand, and then I've got these little gems because, you gotta have a little bit of bling. This frame is so adorable, and I can imagine it would be so cute for decoupage, but you know what? I'm going to take that stand off because I was also really thinking this could be something really fun for the dresser to be able to put jewelry in, just kind of having a ring box, or, a little place for when you take your rings off at night, maybe something that you set next to your bed. And then you've got these great corks. And I was thinking, I didn't know at first, I was thinking, okay, this could be a fun little trinket for jewelry, right? But just kind of putting the jewelry down on top of this kind of porcelain or the ceramic, whatever it is. I don't know. I just didn't feel like that would be very good for the jewelry. So I was thinking that this little flower would fit kind of perfectly in here. And then you could have almost like a little cushion, because if you think about it, if you just kind of take your jewelry and just kind of clang it on the top here, yeah, I mean, it would work, but I don't know. I want to treat my jewels a little nicer. And this one honestly is for my mom. So this was something that I thought that she would appreciate as well. And those pieces of jewelry, those are just some of mine. And I'm going to add a little bit of glue just to the center here. I'm kind of squeezing this glue gun very, very lightly because I do want to add this to the center there. And I don't want that to slide around. So I do want it to kind of stay in place there. Now, the great thing that I noticed about these gemstones is that they're not very tall. They're actually about the same width or thickness of the floral decor that you see in the middle there. Now, it's not glued down, so I am going to take some hot glue, and we're going to squeeze the end of it. My little hot glue gun is hanging on by a thread here, and I've used this hot glue gun for, gosh, probably like 4 years. It's definitely time to get a new one, though. I did just kind of add some hot glue in there, and then I'm taking that gemstone piece and just kind of pushing it, and it actually goes right into the center of the flower, which is great. So there's not like a piece of this gemstone like sticking up higher than the foam that little coaster is made out of, if that makes sense. Like, how cute is this? And then you've got a place that you can just kind of drop off your jewelry. It's got a fun spring kind of punch. It looks really, really cute on the dresser, and it holds all the, all the family jewels, all the family heirlooms without scuffing anything. I love it.